says the Lord, be a praying president, not a religious one, for I will fool the people, says the Lord. God says, I will put at your helm for 2 terms, a president that will pray, but he will not be a praying president when he starts. I will put him in office, and then I will baptize him with the Holy Spirit and my power, says the Lord.
The Spirit of the Lord says there shall be one assassination attempt that shall endeavor to destroy the plans that I have for this nation. Look to your vice president.
But California, I'm looking at you. Gold, stone, California. God says, once you recognize the man that I have raised up, pray, for the enemy will do everything in his power to put a witch in the White House. Hear me. I have found a man after my own heart, and he is amongst you. He is one of the brothers but singled out for presidency of the United States of America. Strange July, hypnotic November, and oh Christmas, where winter shall say, and me, I will make them happy. My will shall be done. And in the fall will show you whom I have chosen to pray for and guide this nation. You shall rejoice, for it is my man. It is my chosen David, says the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this special analysis. Today, we have 2 very special guests joining us, and they will be with us momentarily, Eric Trump and Clay Clark. But before we go into the interview, I want to play this.
This is a deep passion of ours that we're inspired to do, despite the kind of toll it probably takes on all of us. Believe me, none of this stuff is easy. The political persecution that we face as a family, the way they come after us, the way they come after our kids, the evilness of some of these people is, but we do it because we love this country, we love America, we love God, we love family, and that's worth fighting for.
The FBI has raided former President Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago.
Unprecedented action.
Unprecedented.
Completely unprecedented.
An abomination. They don't want Donald Trump to run and win again in 2024.
He's going to announce any day that he's running for president in 2024, and this is a very convenient way to just throw a little more mud on Donald Trump.
Mr. Trump called the raid unannounced and says it was not necessary or appropriate, in arguing that such an assault could only take place in broken third world countries.
Well, without further ado, let's bring on our guests, Clay Clark and Eric Trump.
Donné, it's great to be on.
Hello.
Welcome. Welcome, you guys. Thanks so much for joining me today. Eric, the last time we were talking to you, they were raiding Mar-a-Lago while we were interviewing you. And we did not even realize until afterwards. I was so surprised at how you kept your composure. So a lot has happened since then. Of course, your dad did get elected to the second term, as my dad prophesied. Yeah. And so we are very, very excited and happy to have you join us and to tell us about your new book, which I am so excited about.
Well, about 7 hours ago, we got #1 New York Times bestseller. And by the way, Donné, this wasn't like a little bit of a victory. This was like one of the greatest victories in the history of the New York Times in terms of books sold. It was a serious success. You know, if you look at last week's list, you know, many times the number of books sold as one last week, you know, and so people were speaking in this country. People are sick and tired of what happened. They put all of us under siege. Every single one of us they put under siege. And you're one of the people in my life, and I don't say this lightly, who came into my life in such an interesting way. Clay Clark has become a dear friend of mine. We were at the Reawaken Tour conferences, and he goes, you need to listen to this. You need to listen to this prophecy from a man named Clement, and he's amazing. And just tell me what you think. And Clay wasn't sure if I was going to think it was crazy or amazing. And I get about 2 sentences into it, and you just had some of them there in the intro, and that was a beautiful intro, but you just had some of them. And the man's favorite color is going to be gold. And his name will be Trump, and he's going to yell from the heavens, and they're going to try and take him out. They're going to try and kill him, and they're going to go after him, and they're going to go after his family. He's going to be a 2-term president. They are going to do everything. He's going to be the least suspecting person to win. And they're going to do everything they can to take that man down. And despite that, he's going to have the voice of the people. The people are going to be behind him, and he's going to bring God back into society, and he's going to find his own religion. And oh my, honestly, when I first heard it, it was special, Donné. It's even more special today. Rehearing it in those clips is even more special today. After Butler, after they tried to kill him at the golf course in Florida, they did everything they could to put our family under siege. They did everything they could to take him out. They tried to bankrupt us. They tried to, take our voice away, the gag orders, the indictments, the dirty dossiers, the Russian shams, the leaking of our tax returns. They're trying to destroy our company. They're trying to remove our name. And they did not win. We had 98% of the media coverage toward our family was negative over the last decade. And yet the American people spoke. And there's no question. There's no question that God was guiding my father. There's no question that God was keeping my father safe. I got to just mention 2 things in here, right? Butler, Pennsylvania, when he turned his head at the last moment and the bullet grazed his ear, and at the exact same moment, the American flag folded up like a perfect angel right above his head. That does not happen. American flags just don't fold up like perfect angels. They certainly don't do it. The second a bullet narrowly missed a former president's head and soon to be the future president. Second of all, there's an amazing person that I've become very, very close to. One of the Secret Service agents on that stage. He was one of the men who went and jumped on my father when the shooting started happening. And several years before the shooting happened, the assassination attempt happened, he wrote a prayer, and it's called the Protector's Prayer. It's a prayer for all of law enforcement. And he talks about, please keep the man on my left and the woman on my right safe. In the famous picture of my father at Butler, he's sitting there, his hands are up like this, and the man on his left, and there was a woman on his right. He prophesied that 2 years before Butler happened. I could go through 100 instances where we felt the Spirit, where we felt the Lord, where we felt, divine power, where the seas opened up in the most dark, unthinkable times, where you're in courthouses and literally the weight of the world is on your shoulders. There's no question that God was leading this journey. And by the way, there's no question that your father got it right, and he got every aspect of it right. Wow. It means more today, Donné, than it even meant when I met you for the first time in 2020 or 2021, where we first became friends. It means your father's words are even more powerful today.
They definitely are. And, it was a really wild ride that we went on together as a nation, really. And we're still on that ride. You brought up the assassination attempt. We were shocked when that happened. I mean, for probably the first maybe hour after that happened, even though I knew your dad was okay, I just was shaking with rage and emotion from that. So I can't imagine how that must have been for you. But, once we reviewed the prophecies that we had and saw that my dad had seen it and how God was going to protect him, we really can understand that this is so much bigger than any normal election, any normal cycle like that. This was a much bigger and more important situation going on. And really, your dad has endured, and your family has endured more than I could imagine. And, we're just all so proud of you guys. When he won, it was the biggest relief, Eric. I went and got myself Krispy Kreme donuts, and just for the first time in years, I could just relax, and I just ate donuts. I was just so happy and
relaxed. Good way to
relaxed.
celebrate. But ask yourself the question of why, right? I mean, our country was losing faith. Our country was losing family. We were losing the family unit. We were losing education. We were losing history. It was all revisionist history. We were losing the American dream. We were certainly losing kind of the nuclear family of the father and mother, raising great drug proliferation was going rampant. Morals were declining. Social media was stripping us of massive amounts of values. Our traditions were being burned. Our history was being burned. Not to mention what was happening, I'm a business guy, not to mention what was happening in the economy with inflation, gas prices, and just the losing of our nation, and also the respect of our nation, the power of our nation, the power of the U.S. dollar, and so many other things. We were fundamentally under attack as society. And you know what? They tried to kill my father because they wanted that voice off that stage, right? They killed my friend Charlie Kirk because they wanted his voice off of that stage. And yet, isn't it really amazing that Charlie's voice is actually larger now, right? Because they made him into a martyr. My father's voice is actually larger now because they tried to destroy him and people knew exactly what they were doing. The Democrats, the people, I believe in the law of unintended consequences. And the law of unintended consequences, I really do believe is guided by God. And the reason I say that is that I can't tell you how hurt we all were in 2020. No one believes that Joe Biden got 16 million more votes than Barack Obama did in 2012. In fact, Barack Obama doesn't even believe that, all right? I know deep down in his heart, he doesn't even believe it. We knew in 2020 we got ripped off. And I can't tell you how much that hurt. We had won that election. It was the greatest margin of victory over for an incumbent president ever before. In 2016, we had like 12, 13 million more votes in 2020. None of it made sense. At the same time, I understand God's plan. Looking back now, losing, and I'm going to do the finger quote, but losing in 2020 was the best thing that ever happened to us, and it might have been actually the best thing that ever happened to this country. Now all of a sudden we have the executive branch. Obviously, we have the Supreme Court 6-3. We have the House. We have the Senate. The mainstream media has no power anymore. They have no power anymore. No one watches NBC. No one watches CBS, right? So they're diminished, unlike in 2016. We have social media. We have ways to message. We're not silenced anymore. And all of a sudden you have somebody who is so much bigger, so much stronger than he ever was before. Now all of a sudden we have Middle East peace. And now all of a sudden he's stopping wars all over the world. India, Pakistan has stopped. Right? I mean, there's so many great things that are happening. You have the churches, again, that are full in this country. You have a reversion back to motherhood and fatherhood. You have a reversion back to family unit. You have a reversion back to productivity. Drugs aren't coming into this country. You have a southern border that's sealed. So many good things are happening for our nation, to protect our nation, to keep the heart and soul of our nation, to keep our nation strong, to keep us the number one superpower anywhere of the world. And that couldn't have happened if God didn't have the plan of making sure that it wasn't back to back. He's stronger having had that gap, having had that space of time, and we're a stronger nation for that.
Absolutely, yes. And you know what? Your dad is doing a fantastic job. I've never seen anybody work like that, except for maybe you and Clay. And so it's just been so great to watch this all manifest. And I remember when I met you the first time, I said to you, "What are we going to do?" This was 2022 actually, and I had just done that presentation and came off the stage. You were so kind, and I said, "What are we going to do?" And you said, "They're going to overplay their hand," and surely they have. And exactly as you said, the media and all of these voices that thought they were so powerful, they were so influential, have been exposed. Yeah. And in that, it's the way God would have it. They say judgment belongs to God. It's actually what the Bible says. And it truly does. And when you can give vengeance to him, it will always be just. And that is what we've witnessed. And, we just continue to pray for your dad and your family. So you decided to write a book. And I'm very interested to hear from you about whatever you want to share about it. But I'm actually in the process of writing a book about my dad and my experience. And so I'm very interested. I'm so glad you've gone ahead of me and done this, because I'm going to watch how you do it. But what inspired you to write it, and what can we expect to read?
Well, about 2 years ago, I started this, and this was before Butler, Pennsylvania, and they were coming after me. I became the most subpoenaed person in American history for doing nothing wrong. I've never gotten a speeding ticket. I've never done anything wrong, but I was a conduit to the Trump family because I ran all of our companies. I ran our entire business, and they couldn't get to my father through the executive branch because of constitutional protections. And so guess what they did? They came after me, and they came after me viciously. They wanted to see me in jail. They wanted to see me in prison. They wanted to see us gone. I mentioned the Russia hoax, where we're getting calls from the FBI saying, I hear you have secret servers in the basement of Trump Tower, and the dirty dossiers where they think, they say my father's doing unthinkable things, and the first impeachment, the second impeachment, the way they made up the lies about Kavanaugh, and the way they made up every lie about my father, and the way they leaked all our tax returns to the New York Times, and the $400 million we spent in legal defense just trying to stay above. I mean, we didn't have a chance if we were normal people. If we didn't have the pocketbook and we didn't have a very loud voice, we didn't have a chance. They left the Ayatollah, they left Boko Haram, they left the Taliban on Twitter, and yet they kicked my father off of Twitter. They turned down all of our dials. They turned down your dial. They turned down Clay Clark's dial. They certainly turned down my dial. They weaponized the IRS against every religious institution in the country, every pastor in the country. They came after us like we were savages. They tried to take away our institutions. They were leaving pot stores open in this country while shuttering churches. Think about it, during the middle of COVID. They did everything they could to come after not only us, we are the tip of the spear, but to come after our country and come after our nation. And so I thought, and I go, we're under siege. That's the name. We're under siege. And I go, I'm going to write a book because honestly, no one was telling the truth. Everything was filtered through the lens of the mainstream media. I wrote every word of this book. I put my heart and soul into this book. I've probably never worked on something harder in my life. And by the way, and that's probably why it became the #1 best-selling book in the country by far right now. It's not even close. And then all of a sudden Butler happened, where they tried to kill my father, and they tried to kill him right in front of me. And I cannot tell you the anger, the rage. I thought my father was dead on that stage, and sure enough, 48 hours later, I'm the delegate from the state of Florida who's making him the Republican nominee for the presidency of the United States. The RNC convention was exactly 48 hours later. But I lived through those raids. I lived through the raid of Mar-a-Lago. My team called me to tell me that the FBI were at the front gate and they were coming in and demanding that I turn off all our security cameras on the property. All of this fell on my shoulders. All of it, everything outside of D.C. fell on my shoulders, and I had to put it down in the bowels of history. That's why I did this, and I can tell you, Donné, as you go into your book, it's incredibly cathartic to do, and especially if you put your heart and soul into it. People can feel heart and soul when they read words, right? People can also read. They can see fakeness. They can see something that was totally written by somebody else. They can feel heart and soul. And you're going to put your heart and soul into the book. And I have no doubt it's going to be great. But I could have never imagined that this would be the siege. I could have also never imagined that this book was going to come out 3 days before they killed a friend. I watched blood flow out of his neck. And I could never imagine that this book, which, came out on Tuesday, was going to be on Charlie. It's going to come out on October 14th. And October 14th was Charlie Kirk's birthday. And I would have never imagined that I would have taken a nice percentage of the proceeds from this book and donated it to Turning Point. And I would have never imagined that our country was in the spot it is right now, where everything is coming to life and everybody's realizing exactly what happened. Because you're right when you said they overplayed their hand. They always dig so deep that they find themselves. They've done that time and time again. When Hillary Clinton made up the dirty dossier, she found herself. When Hillary Clinton made up the Russia hoax with Barack Obama, they dug so deep that they found themselves. When Joe Biden, authorized the raid on Mar-a-Lago, guess what? We dug so deep that we found out that Jack Smith was planting classified folders in my father's office, and it wasn't on behalf of the National Archives. It was actually orchestrated by Merrick Garland and Joe Biden. They dug so deep that they find themselves. They always find themselves. They always find themselves. And America knows exactly who the Democratic Party is now, is a as they do the No King's Day, and they dress up like fairies and they prance around the streets, and it's violent and they're disruptive, and they hurt law enforcement officers, and they come after our nation, they come after our values, and they've exposed themselves for exactly who they are. America understands it, and frankly, the entire world understands it. And we won the siege. We won the siege. It took us 10 years. It took us hundreds of millions of dollars. Probably took years off of my life and all of our lives, certainly off of Clay's life as well, who's a big part of this story. But man, did we win. And thank God we did, because we probably wouldn't have a country if we didn't.
Right. And you know what? It's actually been an incredible journey. And like you said, in 2020, when they stole that election and all of the stuff that happened at the time, it was just so awful. But in hindsight, it was necessary so that people could see the truth.
Best thing that ever happened.
Enough people had not seen the truth. And through that 4 years, I mean, you listed almost everything that
Oh, there was 100. Donné, there was 100 other things in there. I just listed the obvious ones. The book goes into about 300 other ones. So that, the siege was much deeper than that, but it's.
And you know what? That's so important that is written down in something that people, 100 years from now can go and read and say, what actually happened there? Because there's so many, with all the lying that's happened, I found that people struggle to trust now. And so you do have a lot of conspiracy theories. And I understand it, because if you can't trust anything anymore that you've spent your whole life trusting, it can shatter some people. And so we've seen a lot of rumors and conspiracies. So being able to put it down into something that people can read. And this is why I feel motivated to write my own book, because our story is highly unusual. My dad did write a book, and he titled the book, Call Me Crazy, But I'm Hearing God. And I helped him write that book in 2005. And so, we're in kind of an unusual situation here, but it actually was helpful. A lot of people were very down after 2020, and to have that hope, and we went on that tour. We went on the tour, the Reawaken America tour. That was so great. And I made sure to stand up there and say 2 terms, 2 terms. And it took a lot of faith, but I knew that he was going to win. I just knew. And so the night, like I said, the night of the election was a great relief. And then, of course, you guys he got straight to work. He's got a great team around him now, which in the beginning, the first round, I'm sure it must have been quite strange. And who can I trust? And obviously there were a lot of people that you guys couldn't trust. And so going into this administration, everybody was armed up. And it has been beautiful to see. I mean, the way that your father has handled all of these wars, because every time you see Pakistan and India, they have nukes, and everybody's scared of the nukes. And I know that your dad's concerned about controlling that, and nobody else would be able to do it. And the way he has handled Israel and the Middle East has been a beautiful thing to watch. And it was in my dad's prophecies. He did prophesy quite a bit about it. And I wanted to make sure to tell you this. One thing my dad saw was that Iran and North Korea are going to bash their heads together. And he said particularly that while those cats and dogs are fighting, America will prosper. And I can see your dad laying the foundation to repair from the bottom up, and it has been incredible. And I would love to talk to him. I've never met your dad, and I would love to meet him and talk to him one day, because I'm sure it must be quite strange for him to hear prophecies, because I know if you don't understand what's going on the way I grew up in it, so I didn't know any different. It was just like, oh, everybody's dad doesn't do this. But my dad has actually blown me away. Just with his accuracy, because it was posthumously. He passed away in 2016. He lived to see your dad elected. And that was a beautiful thing, too, that God allowed him to see that before he took him.
Donné, I have to tell you, my father has seen the prophecy, because actually Clay and I showed it to him, and he was blown away. And honestly, it's almost worth me showing it to him again now, because again, even as you played those clips again today, as impactful as that was in 2022, you're right. He said he was going to be a two-term president. There was a lot of people who were saying out there saying, I don't know, this looks like a one-term president against all odds, right? I mean, people didn't exactly give us great odds as we were sitting in a courtroom as they were trying to indict my father under 91 indictments, every single one of which, we've beaten. I actually think that the prophecy is substantially more powerful today than it even was back then, and it was powerful back then. But, Clay and I showed it to him, and he's seen it, and he was blown away by it. And I think it's time that I refresh that. But Clay, why don't you hop in here, my friend? You've been such an unbelievable part of this voyage and this journey. And by the way, what you've done, and they talk about a man named Clark in the prophecy, which I think that's kind of interesting. I mean, Clay did the Reawaken tour events all across the country, and hundreds of thousands of people came and saw all of us speak. And he did it in places where it was not popular. It was very popular because they were all incredibly well attended, but it was not popular among the mainstream media, that much I can tell you, and he was a huge part of this victory.
Well, Eric, I appreciate you saying that. I will say this. When I first received the Clement prophecies, and I just be full disclosure, I was not a prophecy watcher, and even to this day, I'm a little bit skeptical of most people most of the time. And so when I got the prophecy, Donné, and I watched it, and I thought, okay, maybe this is referencing President Trump. I mean, how many people have the last name Trump who are going to run for office? Okay, we narrowed that down. Okay, how many people by the name of Trump are going to run for presidency who their favorite color is gold? Okay, how many people by the name of Clark are doing these events? And so there was a lot of coincidences or things coming together. And I knew that we needed to show these to Eric. And so we were in Ohio, and I remember telling my wife, I said, I'm going to have Eric watch these prophecies. I'm going to have Donné speak right before Eric. We're going to show the prophecies, and either Eric will never speak to me again, and he'll go, that guy is a whack job, or maybe there'll be the start of a friendship, because there was nothing to gain by showing that. And I think God just showed off in a big way by allowing President Trump to return for a second term. And I had 5 things I wanted to share about Eric's book here that I think is life-changing for anybody watching this. First off, Eric is probably the most fantastically diligent journalist, like a man who journals. More than anybody I know, Eric, you do that, and by reflecting on your day, it allows you to see patterns and trends and who was there for you and who wasn't for you and what they said and what they did. And so this book, you're almost living through Eric's journal. And Eric, I wanted to see if you could discuss that briefly, because this book is a behind-the-scenes look about what was happening. But even the morning, as an example, the morning after the Butler shooting, I spoke to you, Eric, that morning, and you sounded super calm and collected despite having gone through the potential loss of your father. And that sort of urgency and detail is in the book. Could you explain, Eric, to the listeners out there, your process for journaling and maybe what they could find in the book here?
Well, actually, I think Clay was on the phone with me when the whole incident happened. I was had my kids on my lap. I was on my bed. I was working on an email, and I think you had just called in, or maybe it was a minute before or something along those lines. I mean, I was speaking to Clay within minutes of that. I actually think I might have said, Clay, I've got to go.
You did?
Which is wild that you were there at exactly that moment. But no, I mean, I was very good about, not journaling in the convention sense, but, every day writing down, 2 or 3 things that happened and why they happened, and the quotes about what they happened and where I was and what the emotion was like at the time. And so I was able to revert exactly back to circumstance. And, I remember one today, we walked out of the courtroom in New York. My father just got convicted of 34 felonies for doing nothing wrong by a crooked judge. Everything's been overturned. And, he stood up, after hearing verdict after verdict, guilty, 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 turns around, shakes my hand. We leave, we get in the car, and he goes, honey, I'm not sure how, but we're going to win this whole thing. We're going to win this whole thing, not just a court case, but the presidency. And I said to him, and I don't know why it was on my mind at the time, and this only came up in rereading my journal, but I said to him, I go, Dad, it's either the White House or we're both in jail. We're doing nothing wrong, but we're in jail. I mean, that was the siege. That was. I remember when my father, for the second time, when Jack Smith convicted him in Miami for the boxes hoax case. Again, a case that we've totally overturned and won every aspect of. And it happened to be his birthday. My daughter was with us. We were down in Miami. We were staying at our hotel, Doral. And we go to fly to New Jersey with him. And, he just gets arraigned in the courthouse in the Southern District of Florida. he meets us at the airport, and the first thing my father does, runs up to him, gives him a hug, and, Grandpa, for your birthday, are we going to the trampoline park? Now, the guy had gotten indicted 3 seconds before of all these bogus charges by Jack Smith. Again, all have been overturned. And I've got this little daughter hanging on his leg asking if we're going to go to the trampoline park for his birthday and if she was invited. And it was just these kind of, instances of absolute corruption and madness meets innocence and beauty. And, you see this kind of pendulum of life. Certainly for me, when I get the call, from my father from the hospital at Butler, when I finally knew he was alive, exactly 48 hours, almost to the minute, exactly 48 hours later, I was on the stage at the RNC making him the Republican nominee for president of the United States because I was a person who cast the final ballot that put him over the delegate total that he needed to become the presumptive nominee for obviously the Republican Party. And so there are so many highs and lows of life, so many quotes that were captured, so many moments that were captured, so many instances that were captured from, terrible moments where he just had his mugshot taken, where he throws a starburst across the plane at my head, just to bring some levity to the moment, when everybody else would otherwise be, crying in the fetal position, sucking their thumb because they were trying to destroy us to everything that they tried to do to break us, to bankrupt us, to destroy us, and all those moments. And in fact, the picture on the cover of Under Siege, that's him and I right before he gave his victory speech in the convention center in Palm Beach, Florida. He was reading his speech, just reading through a quick speech that he had jotted down, and that's him and I standing there talking about it about 5 minutes before we all went out on that stage as a family. And he won the presidency that night. This was November 6th, early in the morning. It was November 5th, obviously, was the election, but November 6th, early in the morning. And what a hell of a fight it's been, and what a hell of a siege it's been. And again, as brutal as it was and as unfun as it was at times, wow, is the world a better place because of it. Wow, are people alive because of it. Wow, are, sons and daughters of people, not getting mortared and not getting shot and not getting blown up. And all because you had a man with enough fortitude to create peace and create prosperity and not enter into war and stop wars and believe in God, believe in faith, and believe in family, and restore values and virtue, and the family unit in this country. And thank God we won the siege. And again, thank God, because honestly, it was God guiding this journey, as your father so well predicted many years ago.
Well, and that's the beautiful thing about prophecy, is that it's not just about entertaining people and saying, oh, look, I can see the future. There's a use to it. It's there to help us. But it also helps people to realize that God is real, and that he's not only real, but he is a part of his creation. And, when you're dealing with the prophetic, time it's all about time, being in and out of it and not being confined by it. And it's, I watched my dad growing up. He was doing completely different things than your dad, but he, it helps to drive people to a future. For instance, something he saw over and over again was death to debt. And he traveled across this country and prophesied that. And that's important too with prophecy, because it's speaking something into existence. And so, this is before we look at our debt now, and it's just astronomical. And I can see your dad having the right mind. And people say, God chose Trump. No, God made Trump for this. And all of the experiences of his life were a preparation for what he is now, which is exactly what God needed him to be to save this nation. And I wanted to make sure to tell you that today, is death to debt. He made, my husband's an artist, and he made him draw in big letters, death to debt, death to debt. He also saw that there would be death to debt because of a new energy source. And as we see AI and digital currencies and quantum computing and all this technology that requires what? A lot of energy. And so he was prophesying these things 20, 25 years ago and through the years. But something he adamantly prophesied was death to debt. And I, for years knew that he prophesied that, but I am living to see that fulfilled through what your dad is doing and the foundation he's laying for not only when he's done, the person after him. Because the Democratic Party has completely lost credibility. I mean, you brought up the No Kings protest, and if you notice, the majority of people who showed up for that were boomers who grew up trusting the media, and all they're hearing is CNN and NBC, and you can see they don't even know what is going on. When people say, why do you hate Trump? They can't tell you. Oh, same for Charlie Kirk. They can't actually tell you what it is. And so it's a great lesson, and it is waking people up. It is a great lesson for people to actually think for themselves. But it also guides people back to God. And that is a beautiful witness your dad is doing without really even meaning to. He's doing what he's doing. But God is using him in beautiful and incredible ways, in a way that no one has been used before by God. And I'm just so honored to know you, Eric, and to have had a small part in this adventure.
Yeah, we all had a big part of this adventure, and believe me, had we not all been there, I always call us like the cast of misfits, right? And I say that in the most enduring way. We didn't know what the hell we were doing, right? I didn't know what I was doing. Clay, you were winging a lot of this, right? I mean, I didn't know what a delegate was. We hardly knew what the Iowa caucuses were, right? I mean, Donné, I was really good at building skyscrapers, right? That's what I've done my entire life. Like, I'm really good at building skyscrapers, really good at building golf courses, really good at operations, really good in the capital markets and everything else. Didn't know what the hell we were doing in politics, right? Like, Clay had never run political series. Clay has 100 businesses. It came out of the music industry, and DJing and all sorts of other things, and is a serial entrepreneur. What did he know about doing political conferences all across the country? And yet he galvanized the hearts and minds of hundreds of thousands of people in places that had totally been forgotten, and he got them excited, and he did a hell of a job, and he brought people like you and I together. We would have never known each other. Real estate guy from New York City. Knowing you, talking about the Lord and faith, right? And now all of a sudden you've got you mentioned obviously the No Kings protest, but let me ask you, would you rather take those boomers, or would you rather take Charlie Kirk's the millennial crowd and these Gen Z's, X's, whatever the hell they are now, because I've lost track of every age group and their respective symbol, but would you rather take the youth vote of this country, who will have the next 5 decades of votes in this nation? Would you rather have them behind you and 100% behind you? Because when you start shooting people in the neck over their head from the top of a building, guess what? Not a single one of those people is ever voting for the Democratic Party again, because they know exactly who these people are. Would you rather have that vote, or would you rather have those whatever you want to call them, the boom? I'll take those. Those people, those guys will be here for the next 20 election cycles in this country, and they will never, ever, ever forget. And by the way, 8 years ago, 6 years ago, you wouldn't have a single one of those people. You know why? Because the professors had indoctrinated them, the schools had indoctrinated them. If they thought differently, they failed. And by the way, it was cool to be on the other side. Now no one wants to be on the other side. Every adolescent male, wants to be on this side. It's become cool. There's testosterone. It's fun. It's different. It's their way to rebel. It's their way to push back against what they had just been spoon-fed for so long. And same thing with females, right? I mean, it's become cool again to have a family, to have a nuclear family, to go to church, to have God, to have, those are beautiful things that are getting great in society. And by the way, God solves all the problems. It solves, drugs. It solves addiction. It solves depression. It solves so many things. It's so good for this nation. Faith is back in this country, and it's back in a meaningful way, and it's back in a way that they can't strip out. And that was all because of our little misfit group of people who again, were given a 0% chance by anybody, and yet, what we have in our heart, and what we have in our voice, and what we have in our spine, and what we had in that fight is why we're here today, and it's forever changed our nation. So don't ever diminish your role in this, and don't ever diminish your father's role in it, and don't ever diminish Clay's role in it. All those puzzle pieces probably had to fit together perfectly. Yeah. And when I say perfectly, I mean if like one of those puzzle pieces didn't work, it probably would not have. This whole thing wouldn't have worked. And I agree with you. It's you mentioned that great. It's not that he chose Trump. I've never heard this, but it was great. He designed Trump. I don't think he probably chose any of us. He probably designed all of us. I mean, without me, my father couldn't have done what he did because he would have had no one to run the tens of thousands of employees that we have all over the world, and he couldn't have just let that go to hell, right? I mean, it's too big. He probably designed me for that moment, and he certainly designed Clay for that moment, and it's a beautiful way you put that, and I think you're exactly right. Clay, jump in here, buddy.
One thing I wanted to share real quick. This is big stuff here. If you're looking at Under Siege here, there's 5 things I wanted to clarify you're going to find in this book. First off, it's a very detailed behind-the-scenes look at all the events that took place. I promise you, if you're a historian, you're going to love it. Second, what's it like to be raised by Donald J. Trump? Eric shares his childhood. He's a 12-year-old cutting rebar. He's a 13-year-old working on construction sites. He's learning masonry at the age of 14. There's a lot of details there. What was it like being raised on The Apprentice? Think about that. What would it be like to be a young person and your life is a reality TV show? That's wild. Third, running the Trump organization. So many people would come up to me at the Reawaken and they would say, what does Eric actually do? And I go, he's actually the one who runs the Trump organization. They go, and by running it, what do you mean? I mean, because people don't understand that it's a multiple billion-dollar company with thousands of employees, and Eric Trump is the man that runs it. Fourth thing is, what's it like to live under siege while raising a family? And Eric does a great job in the book talking about that. And then finally is this life management, time management book. If you're an entrepreneur watching this and you go, man, I'm trying to manage my life and my business. If you run a ministry or watching this going, how do I manage time? How do I get things done? To-do lists, calendars, how do I get it all done? Eric touches on all those things in this book, Under Siege. And what we're doing, because the Kim Clement audience is probably the first Trump audience in the world. Think about it. In 2007, Kim Clement said that Trump would run for presidency. So the Kim Clement audience is the original, the OGs, the original Trump MAGA audience here. What we're doing right now, if you'll buy the book and you'll text my number here, this is my cell phone number, you'll text my number, proof of purchase. So Donné, everybody watching this show in the next 24 hours, so from the time this show goes out here, in the next 24 hours, if you text my number, proof of purchase, 918-851-0102. You say, what do I do? You buy the book, then you text me a proof of purchase, text me a screenshot, proof of purchase to my phone number, 918-851-0102, 918-851-0102. You're entered in for a chance to win a backstage pass to the upcoming business conference that Eric and I are doing. We're teaching people how to start and grow super successful companies. It's Anaheim, California. Anaheim, California, left coast of America, Anaheim, California, December 4th and 5th. You say, what's that website? It's thrivetimeshow.com. Thrive, like a thriving plant. Thrivetimeshow.com. And if you want to get tickets, we've got about 150 tickets left. That's thrivetimeshow.com, December 4th and 5th. We're going to teach you marketing, social media, branding, accounting, finance, workflow design, everything you need to know to start and grow a super successful company, thrivetimeshow.com. But again, if you want to win a backstage pass to meet Eric Trump, folks, buy the book today, Under Siege. Buy it today. Take a screenshot of your purchase. Text it to my number, Donné. That's 918-851-0102. And again, if you're out there and you were the original Donald Trump for president fan, that's probably true if you've been listening to this broadcast since 2007. And we want to reward you and give you an opportunity to win a backstage pass to that event coming up December 4th and 5th, Donné. Right there in Anaheim, California. That's thrivetimeshow.com.
Thank you so much, Clay. You're just awesome the way you could do that. You know what? I would like to join that too. I'm going to be texting the number. I ordered the book, but it was sold out. Which, you know what? I was so happy to see that.
These are really good problems to have. When you sell out, 130,000 copies of a book in 5 days or whatever, whatever it ended up being. These are seriously good problems to have. So it got back in stock yesterday. Fortunately, it's back in stock on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and everywhere else. But honestly, there was a referendum. It went viral because, honestly, people know that we were under siege, but people were also under siege. People lived this with us. They were side by side with us. We won this together. And so this book isn't just for me. This book is for all of us who believe, all of us who love God. all of us who love this nation and our country. And it was for all of us. So, yeah, go get it. I think it will change your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're watching this right now, go get it if you haven't got it already. I'm waiting for mine. I can't wait to read it. And I thank you so much for your time today, Eric. It means so much to us. We keep praying for you guys. And don't forget, death to debt.
Death to debt. I agree with that 100%.
If you're writing stuff down, write it down. Tell your dad every time you see him. That was what was prophesied. The man who prophesied he would be president and for 2 terms prophesied death to debt over this nation, and he's the man who's going to take care of that, your dad. And so I thank you so much for joining us today. And Clay, I just love you, Clay. Thank you so much for joining us, too. It was so great hanging out with you guys. And I guess we're done. Yeah, we are out of time, but it was just a wonderful time
You're the
together.
greatest.
And we will see you next time. Thank you so much. Hello, friends. I'm Donné Clement Petruska, and I am honored to invite you to something truly extraordinary, the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Now you can gain unprecedented access to my father's entire digitized video archive. Every prophetic moment, every powerful teaching, every anointed worship session is now available to you in the Prophecy Vault. Plus, I'm excited to share that my dad's special School of the Prophets teachings are included, offering you deep, transformative lessons on hearing God's voice and understanding his revelations. Your partnership is crucial. Not only will you gain access to these incredible resources, but you'll also help us continue the vital work of preserving, digitizing, and adding new Kim Clement material to the archives. I'm inviting you to step into the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Let's embark on this journey of revelation together, and I can't wait to see you inside. We have Andrew Sorcini from Beverly Hills Precious Metals with us today. If someone has a 401k, can they take some of that and purchase gold as an investment for their future?
They can, and it's a great way to do it, because if you have an IRA, a government TSP account, a 401k from a company that you used to work at but don't work at anymore, or if you still work at the company and you're over 59 and a half, these can be rolled over into a precious metals IRA. And if you were to speak to your financial advisor about it, they'll tell you, oh, this is a taxable event. They'll tell you things like gold and silver are volatile. But really, the thing is, they don't want you to get into precious metals because it doesn't benefit them monetarily. I'm here to tell you that your accounts can be rolled into a precious metals IRA without it being a taxable event. You would own real gold and silver that is stored in a third-party depository that's insured in a lockbox with your name on it.
So if someone goes to bh-pm.com, is that the correct website? Okay, and that's going to be on the bottom of the screen. If they go there today, what do they need to do?
Okay, so there's an online form there, and the form, almost every page on the website has the online form. So you just fill in your first name, last name, email address, telephone number, say that Kim Clement sent you, or the House of Destiny. We'll know what you mean. And in the notes section, be as detailed as you can. Sometimes people put things in there like, I'm a complete novice. I really don't understand precious metals. I've been wanting to understand. I want to invest, but really I need more information first. Then put that in there. If you're someone that's been investing in gold and silver for years and really don't need a consultation, you just want to check prices, then put that in there.
Everybody watching, if you are interested in precious metals, this is where you want to go. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay, Aaron Antis, guess who's joining us for the December 4th and 5th, 2025 Thrivetime Show Business Growth Workshop?
Ooh, Santa Claus?
No, we will not be joined by Santa Claus, but we will be joined by Eric Trump, the son of the 45th and now 47th president of these United States. And yes, Amanda Grace will be in the place. And yes, Dr. Stella Manuel will be there, so you know it will go well. Yes, we have Mel K in the house. Pastor Phil and Tammy Hotson-Pillar will be hosting this event at their beautiful church right there in sunny Anaheim, California. Yes, folks, make this a December to remember.
You surprised?
Make this a December to remember and join us at the 2-day interactive business growth workshops. For over 20 years, folks, I've been hosting business growth workshops where we're going to teach you marketing, sales systems, human resources, accounting, social media marketing, branding, sales training, search engine optimization, accounting, workflow development, financial management, all this and more. How do you get tickets? Go to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, how do you get tickets? Go to thrivetimeshow.com and request tickets today. And now Eric Trump, people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. There's not 50 employees. The Trump organization, again, most people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. And while Donald J. Trump was the 45th president of these United States, and this just in from our home office, President Donald J. Trump is now the 47th president of these United States as well.
I'm Ron Burgundy?
He needed someone to run the companies for him. And so the man that runs the Trump organization for Donald J. Trump, as he was the 45th president of the United States and now the 47th president of the United States, is Eric Trump. And so Eric Trump is here to talk about time management, promoting from within, marketing, branding, quality control, sales systems, workflow design, workflow mapping, how to build. I mean, everything that you see, the Trump hotels, the Trump golf courses, all their products, the man who manages billions of dollars of real estate and thousands of employees is here to teach us how to do it.
You are talking about one of the greatest brands on the planet from a business standpoint. Right. I mean, who else has been able to create a brand like the Trump brand? I mean, look at it. And this is the man behind the business for the last, pretty much since 2015. He's been the man behind it. So you're talking, we're into 9 going into 10 years of him running it, and we get to tap into that knowledge. That's going to be amazing.
Now, think about this for a second.
Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
German? Forget it, he's rolling.
It ain't over now.
The lineup continues to grow, and this is how we do our tickets here at the Thrivetime Show. If you want to get a VIP ticket, you can absolutely do it. It's $500 for a VIP ticket. We've always done it that way. Now, if you want to take a general admission ticket, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. And the reason why I do that, and the reason why we do that is because we want to make our events affordable for everybody. I grew up without money. I totally understand what it's like to be in a tight spot. So if you want to attend, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. That's how I do it. And it's $500 for a VIP ticket. Now, we only have limited seating here with... Whoa.
There's a lot of togetherness and closeness, camaraderie.
So again, if you want to get tickets for this event, all you have to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. When you go to thrivetimeshow.com, you'll go there, you'll request a ticket, boom. Or if you want to text me, if you want a little bit faster service, you say, I want you to call me right now. Just text my number. It's my cell phone number, my personal cell phone number. We'll keep that private between you, me, everybody. We'll keep that private. And anybody. Don't share that with anybody except for everybody. That's my private cell phone number. It's 918-851-0102. 918-851-0102. I know we have a lot of Spanish-speaking people that attend these conferences. And to be bilingually sensitive, my cell phone number is 918-851-0102.
That is not actually bilingual. That's just saying Juan for a one. It's not the same thing.
I think you're attacking me. Now, let's talk about this. Now, what kind of stuff will you learn at the Thrivetime Show workshop? So, Aaron, you've been to many of these over the past 7-8 years. So let's talk about it. I'll tee up the thing, and then you tell me what you're going to learn here, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
You're going to learn marketing and branding. What are we going to learn about marketing and branding?
Oh, yeah. We're going to dive into, so many people say, I got to get my brand known out there, like the Trump brand, right? You want to get that brand brand out there. It's like, how do I actually make people know what my business is and make it a household name? You're going to learn some intricacies of how you can do that.
You're going to learn sales. So many people struggle to sell something. This just in, your business will go to hell if you can't sell. So we're going to teach you sales. We're going to teach you search engine optimization, how to come up top in the search engine results. We're going to teach you how to manage people. Aaron, you have managed, no exaggeration, hundreds of people throughout your career and thousands of contractors. And most people struggle with managing people. Why does everybody have to learn how to manage people?
Well, because first of all, you either have great people or you have people who suck. And so it can be a challenge. Learning how to work with a large group of people and get everybody pulling in the same direction can be a challenge. But if you have the right systems, you have the right processes, and you're really good at selecting great ones, and we have a process we teach about how to find great people. When you start with the people who have a great attitude, they're teachable, they're driven, all of those things, then you can get those people all pulling in the same direction.
So we're going to teach you branding, marketing, sales, search engine optimization. We're going to teach you accounting. We're going to teach you personal finance, how to manage your finance. We're going to teach you time management. How do you manage your time? How do you get more done during a typical day? How do you build an organization if you're not organized? How do you do organization? How do you build an org chart? Everything that you need to know to start and grow a business will be taught during this 2-day interactive business workshop. Now, let me tell you how the format is set up here. And again, folks, this is a 2-day interactive 15. Think about this, folks. It's 2 days. Each day it starts at 7 a.m. and it goes until 5 p.m. So from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 2 days. It's a 2-day interactive workshop. The way we do it is we do a 30-minute teaching session, and then we break for 15 minutes for a question and answer session. So, Aaron, what kind of great stuff happens during that 15-minute question and answer session after every teaching session?
I actually think it's the best part about the workshops, because here's what happens. I've been to lots of these things over the years. I've paid many thousands of dollars to go to them. And you go in there and they talk in vague generalities, and they're constantly upselling you for something, trying to get you to buy this thing or that thing or this program or this membership. And you leave not getting your very specific questions answered about your business or your employees or what you're doing on your marketing. And what's awesome about this is we literally answer every single question that any person asks, and it's very specific to what your business is.
And what we do is we allow you as the attendee to write your questions on the whiteboard.
Yep.
And then we literally, as you mentioned, we answer every single question on the whiteboard. And then we take a 15-minute break to stretch. And this is also your opportunity to meet some of the great speakers like Pastor Dave Scarlett. You can meet Mel Kay. You could meet Amanda Grace. You could meet Dr. Stella Emanuel. You could just grab a coffee. You could find some alone time. You could get lost in the bathroom. You could try to go and get a photo with one of the speakers. You could try to photobomb a photo where someone else is getting a photo with the speakers. You could go attempt to find your phone, wallet, and your keys.
My phone, wallet, keys, yeah, phone, wallet, keys.
Whoa. Now that's a good idea.
Well, it's going to be great. And then you're in the company of hundreds of entrepreneurs. So there's not a lot of people in America today. In fact, there's less than 10 million people today, according to U.S. Debt Clock, that identify as being self-employed. So if you have a country with 350 million people, that means you have less than 3% of our population that's even self-employed. Yeah. So you only have 3 out of every 100 people in America that are self-employed to begin with. And when Inc. magazine reports that 96% of businesses fail by default, you have a 1 out of 1,000 chance of succeeding in the game of business. But yet the average client that you and I work with, we can typically double this. And this is no hyperbole, no exaggeration. And I have thousands of testimonials to back this up. We have thousands of testimonials to back it up. But when you work with a home builder, when I work with a business owner, we can typically double the size of the company within 24 months.
Yeah.
Double. And you say double? Yeah, there's businesses that we have tripled. There's businesses we've grown 8x. There's so many examples you can see at thrivetimeshow.com. But again, this is the most interactive, best business workshop on the planet. This is objectively the highest rated and most reviewed business workshop on the planet. Whoa. Add to that, Eric Trump, the man that runs the Trump Organization. You say, Clay, I'm not going to get a ticket unless you give me more. Okay, fine. We're going to serve you the same meal both days. True story. We cater in the food, and because I keep it simple, I literally bring in the same food both days for lunch.
Who's with me? Let's go! Come on!
It was an incredible Mexican restaurant. That's going to happen. Someone says, I want more. This is not enough.
Give me more.
Okay, I'm not going to mention their names right now because I'm working on it behind the scenes here. But we just continue to add more and more success stories. So if you're out there today and you want to change your life, you want to give yourself an incredible gift, you want a life-changing experience, you want to learn how to start and grow a company, go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go there right now, thrivetimeshow.com. Request a ticket for the 2-day interactive event. Again, the event's going to be on December 4th and 5th in sunny Anaheim, California. Great weather. Make this a December to remember. Eric Trump, the man who leads the Trump organization. It's going to be a blasty blast. There's no upsells. Aaron, I could not be more excited about this event.
I think it is incredible. And there's somebody out there right now, you're watching and you're like, but I already signed up for this incredible other program called Smoke Your Way to Thin. I think that's going to change your life. I promise you this will be 10 times better than that.
It's like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
Now, don't do the Smoke Your Way to Thin conference. That is, I've tried it. Don't do it.
Yeah, chain smoking is not a viable. I mean, it is life changing. It is life changing. If you become a chain smoker, it is life changing.
Not the best weight loss program, though.
Right. Really. So if you're looking to have life changing results in a way that won't cause you to have a stoma, get your tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's Aaron Antis. I'm Clay Clark, and reminding you and inviting you to come out to the 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show workshop in beautiful Anaheim, California.
I'm Kay Dixon. I'm from Sarasota, Florida.
I'm Vince Suzuki, also from Sarasota, Florida.
He dragged me here.
Yep, was here in 2018, and it changed my business, and I built another business, and now I'm here to do it again with this business. So.
Yeah, I'm a brand strategist, and it's been really easy to go to a lot of events like this and just leave really in your head like what to do next. And already there's the strategic, step-by-step, real-life implementation that we can do to our business, and I'm so grateful to be here and very excited that Eric Trump is here, and that is going to be epic.
Hi, my name is Erica, and it has been amazing being here. The conference, I'm learning so much. Everything is perfect for me.
But that Clay Clark, man, he is one character.
It's a good word for him. Character. Yeah, that is it.
Good, driven, smart, and I've never met a guy who was so hyper all the time. He's doing so much good, and then I met his mother, and she just says, she just lets him be Clay Clark. I mean, so he's endorsed by his mother, and he's doing magnificent work. So it was great meeting you out there and all the people that he surrounds himself with. Clay Clark starts his days at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, he's a machine. He's a machine.
Yeah. But I have problems with my company starting at 9 o'clock. Yes, hundreds of people showing up at 5 a.m. in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Man, he's a leader of a leader. He's a fantastic young man.
No, he is.
And the greatest thing that will come out of all of it, aside from winning the presidency of the United States, we'll get to that in a second, was an everlasting friendship between Clay and I, because I'm telling you, there's not too many people in the world that have this man's backbone and his tenaciousness and his perseverance. And so, buddy, I love you. And to General Flynn, thank you. You guys are incredible. You guys are incredible warriors. You guys are incredible, incredible warriors. So thank you, my friend.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
4,000% from February to February. Now, I can better that. Okay, Clay, I don't think you know this. I don't think you know this. I'm pinching myself, and if I cry, forgive me. In the last 2.5 days, we have bettered our entire month of February in the last 2.5 days. So, and the phone's blowing up. Everything's just blowing up. You're right. It is like a rocket ship. So We're pinching ourselves, actually.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York, acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
We're going to move into action mode here. So for anybody out there, if you say, I would like to go to Mar-a-Lago. Now, Jackson, you know that this just in, they raided Mar-a-Lago. You know about this? This just in. And so some people say, that wasn't cool. I didn't like that. But, so a lot of people out there, we want to kind of stick it to the New York Times. We want Eric to become the #1 best-selling author in America. And we kind of also want to go to Mar-a-Lago and check it out. We've never been there before. So what we're going to do is for anybody right now, if you go to Amazon right now and you buy a copy of Eric Trump's book, Under Siege, My Family's Fight to Save Our Nation. So you go to Amazon right now, you buy a copy of the book, and you just text a screenshot of your proof of purchase to my cell phone number, 918-851-0102. So text my number, 918-851-0102. So again, step one, you go here to Amazon.com, you buy a copy of the book, Under Siege, then you just text a screenshot of your purchase, your proof of purchase. You text my number, 918-851-0102. You have a chance to win a dinner at Mar-a-Lago with Eric Trump and myself, and there's more.
And by the way, Mar-a-Lago right there, just for your viewers, it's a most exclusive private club in the world. $2 million to get into, just base membership fee. And I promise we're going to make your night absolutely incredible. Clay goes, listen, why don't we do this? Why don't we put it out to all the amazing Reawaken people, all the people who supported us all around the country, all around, at every one of these conferences, who adore your family. We've got to beat the New York Times. The New York Times is going to do everything they can. Even though we're #1 on Amazon right now, we just hit #1 this morning. New York Times is going to do everything they can to keep you from being #1 bestseller. You know that, I know that, you know the games that they're willing to play. But Clay goes, why don't we do a couple of things? First of all, love having dinner with Clay. He's the greatest. Second of all, why don't we bring one of the amazing people that I guarantee you I've been in front of at all these events. Why don't we bring a couple to dinner at Mar-a-Lago? And I said, absolutely, consider it done. So I said, they have to text you, Clay. They can't text me because we'll be getting 1,000 of these. But yeah, go buy a book, text Clay, and we'll set up a dinner. I'll make sure you guys have the absolute time of your life.
Now, I'm going to pull this up again one more time here, Jackson, because I think sometimes I'm a poor communicator, and I need to work on communicating more effectively. So you go to Amazon. That's step one, okay?
Yes.
You buy a copy of the book, Pop Quiz. What book?
Under Siege.
You buy a copy of Under Siege, and then you screenshot a picture of that, and you text my phone number. It's 918-851-0102. And folks, that is my cell phone number. So we'll keep that private between you and me and everybody. And then when you text that to me, you have a chance to win a backstage pass to the actual in-person business workshop. That's a business growth workshop, December 4th and 5th, featuring Eric Trump in Anaheim, California. And you have a chance to win dinner with Eric Trump and myself at Mar-a-Lago. Now, someone says, when does this contest end? Now, Eric, your birthday was hijacked. Okay, so your birthday was hijacked. January 6th is this man's birthday. He now has to switch his birthday because no one wants to talk about his birthday on January 6th anymore. So we're going to run this promotion until November 5th. That's my birthday. So we're gonna,
no. So we're going to run it until October 14th.
October 14th.
Has to be pre-sale.
This just in. It has to be between October 14th. That's why we're clarifying. So between now and October 14th. Now, folks, let me just clarify this real quick here. So make sure I'm leaving you with some good clarity here. One, you buy a copy of Under Siege on Amazon. That's the step one.
Yep.
Step two, you text a screenshot of that purchase to my cell phone number, 918-851-0102. Three, you have to do that before October 14th. Before October 14th, this just in. It has to be before October 14th. And you have a chance to win a backstage pass to the upcoming business workshop. You have a chance to have dinner with Eric Trump at Mar-a-Lago. And I want to tell you some benefits of buying the book. One, I've read the book. It's incredible. If you're a father out there and you want to learn about mentoring your kids, it's a great book. If you want to learn about American history, it's a great book. If you want to make America great again, it is a great book. It's a book you got to have.
Now here is just a quick editor's note. You do not have to buy a copy of Eric Trump's book, Under Siege, to be entered into the drawing. Whoa. Just text the number. All you have to do is just text the number, 918-851-0102, and you will be entered into the drawing for a chance to win a copy of Eric Trump's book, Under Siege, and a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to hang out with Eric Trump and Clay Clark at Mar-a-Lago, and to win a backstage pass at the upcoming ThriveTimeShow.com 2-day interactive business workshop. Again, you do not have to buy a copy of the book to be entered into the drawing, but it would be great if you'd buy a copy of the book because that would make sense. However, that is all, and now back to the interview.
Also, Eric, a final question here for you. You are donating a portion of the proceeds to support Charlie Kirk in his continued mission there. Could you tell us about that briefly there, and then we'll let you get back to what you're doing today, sir?
Yeah, well, I was on with Benny Johnson. Benny Johnson was a great friend of Charlie Kirk's, as you know, and you know Benny, and Benny's a very good friend of mine. And, you know, Kash Patel is a very good friend of mine and was a very good friend of Charlie's. I mean, you watch everybody that's up on that stage every single day as they got to the bottom of exactly what happened, and they brought justice to what happened, or are trying to bring justice to what happened. And it's kind of unthinkable. But you know St. Jude, and I talk a lot about St. Jude in this book, because that's been, you know, fighting pediatric cancer has always been a cornerstone of my life. But Charlie truly was the epitome of being under siege, not only in the movement that he helped create, but obviously in how his life was savagely taken. My book came out 2.5 days before Charlie's assassination. You better believe he would have been the final chapter of this book as just another illustration of what these people will do at any cost to try and win, because it's who they are. It's the not so tolerant left. And we can never let, you know, our voices be extinguished, Clay. You stood on that stage as well as anybody I've ever seen stand on a stage. You did our Reawaken events all across the country, which you funded out of your back pocket because you believed in America. You believed in a greater country. And you were on that stage every single day. You know, I was on that stage with you every single day. And I was on the Turning Point stage with Charlie all the time. And I was on stages across, you know, the country and 3 campaigns. I've stood on thousands of them. And honestly, they don't want us to stand on that stage. That's why they're sending bullets from rooftops. They don't want us to go out there with a bullhorn and have loud, independent thought. When they see these beautiful arenas full of kids and they're cheering, they're celebrating, they're holding American flags, they don't want that. And so they want to silence us. They want to silence our voice. That's why they killed Charlie. That's why they tried to kill my father. That's why they sent 112 subpoenas to me. That's why they wanted me in jail and my father in jail and Don in jail. That's why they made up the hoaxes. They wanted to see us destroyed and gone with no voice, with no money, with no company, with no political aspirations, gone. And we can't allow that to happen. And so we need to make sure that Turning Point continues. We need to make sure incredible patriots like you continue to spread, you know, sensible, you know, speech, pro-American values, you know, pro-religious, pro-constitutional values. And that's why I want to donate the funds to Turning Point. I want to donate, you know, a portion of the funds to Turning Point, because we can't allow anarchy to win, and we can't allow voices to be deleted, and we need to keep Charlie's legacy going.
Eric Trump, thank you so much for joining us. Pastor Jackson, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Eric, have a great day. We really do appreciate you. Everybody go out there and buy that book, Under Siege. It's not too early to buy your Christmas gifts. And if you have a Democrat in your family, buy them a copy as well. Eric Trump, take care.
Thanks, guys. See you later.